When you watch other content creators play DayZ, what do you see? A map that's colorful and bright? Maybe some weapons you've never seen before? Or maybe traders that have been added to the game? All of that is modded, and they do add a lot to the game, but that's what we usually see now in 2023. What about official servers? What is it like to play DayZ official servers? Well, I decided to find out by going onto the official server and pressing play. So, I have no idea how this is gonna really turn out, but I do know this. I think I'm gonna get fucked within the first 3 to 5 minutes of this game. I have no idea actually where we're at, by the way. I still haven't learned the map of Chinaris at all. Like, I've been using the browser and pulled it up to my second monitor to try to figure out where the hell I am, and I honestly have no fucking idea. There is third person in this as well. After searching around for an hour or so, I didn't really find much other than some equipment for starting some fires and getting some armor for some protection. But I did find an actual gun for range protection, the BK-12. Ooh. Hello, BK-12. What do you take? 12 gauge. You have no ammo in you though. Now that is tough. After some more scavenging, finding a metal pipe and a bat, it became night, and this brought out an opportunity for me to scavenge more within the shadows. During this, I was able to find better clothing for warmth and different ammo for a different weapon. Then I found a dry bag that I could use to make sure things wouldn't get wet from the rain or if I went swimming somewhere. And I also found a clinic and searched the area for some health and aid supplies. The only thing I really found in there was some more bandages, a blood transfusion kit, a thermometer, and a blood test kit. I decided to search one more building before I left, and lo and behold, a weapon that I had ammo for. Sure, it was damaged, but it would still fire, and that gave me enough protection for myself. It became morning shortly after, and I heard a chicken nearby, so some breakfast was in order. And we're gonna go to a safe place to try to strip this chicken. I went to the nearby building near the woods and used that as my temporary base so I can cook up some of the chicken. And there's some jam in here too, sweet. Let's cook the chicken. Actually, let's have these doors open so that we have a way to escape if needed. Got the chicken here. It is now dead. Let's cut this bad boy up. Now, since I started up the stove with some fire, smoke filled the chimney, and that would alert bypassers about my location and how active it is. So I kept alert about my surroundings and made sure no one got my chicken. You know, I think I know the reason why people enjoy watching DayZ videos more than playing them. I honestly think it's due in part of like how tedious the game can be. After a little bit longer, it started to rain and I cooked my chicken fully. I headed up to the hill ahead and decided to relax in the building for a bit, and since my in-game character almost did a 24-hour shift, I decided it should get a little break. And what I really mean is that I need to use the restroom really badly, so I sat in there for a little bit longer than I should have. A little bit after that break, it was decided that I needed to go and find out where I was at. Luckily, at the top of a hill was a giant map with a big red dot indicating where I was at. I saw a big giant airbase to the west side of the map, so I decided that would be my next goal, is to get in there and try to find really great equipment. Not only is it because I also want to survive longer, but it's also a personal goal for me to get into the air base without dying. I'd never been able to actually solo run into the base and escape fully, so it was always hard for me because I'm still new to the game, and being able to do that would give me an indication that I've progressed from being a low level 1 minion to a level 100 boss. The next area I would need to go to is west, but I decided to make a stop first to the town next to the hill and see if there's any good loot or supplies I can get my little grubby hands on. Oh, that's closed, isn't it? Yeah, the brick walls. Okay. Well, I guess we'll head up there. Yeah, I guess the... Oops, I made noise. That's not good. Run this way. I fought some zombies, looted some houses here and there, and I found a police station nearby that could help us out with some ammo and weapons we could use at the base. Zombies are pretty quiet around there. I mean, shoot, let's go. Oops. What am I doing? I don't want to win. I don't want to wave to let everyone know I'm here, damn it. When I went inside, I only found magazines for other weapons. It made me sad because I wanted to find a semi-automatic rifle or a bolt-action rifle for medium-range combat that I can get into. Because when you go to the airbase, it's a hotspot for a lot of people because everyone wants to get the best gear possible in a short amount of time. Now, as I was about to leave, something interesting happened. Kinda sucks, but... What the fuck? What is that? A mortar strike? Green gas? Something was definitely up, but I was not about that life. That was definitely not a good thing. We gotta... I'm a little shocked, a little afraid. I checked everywhere in here already. Honestly, I feel like we should just get out of here. Yeah, because if someone... I don't know what the hell that was, but I'm not taking any chances with that thing. Yeah, zombie can chase me all you want. I'm leaving. I've never seen anything like that in DayZ. That was actually a first for me. And I'm utterly confused on what that was. It's like staying there for some reason. And after that, I decided to go inside a different house and cozy up into a bed and logged out for the night. So I logged back into the game to see my character soaked from the rain last time, and that means I need to go and get new clothes, or I need to dry my clothes in a house so I don't get sick. And getting sick in DayZ is basically sending a death wish to your front doorstep. So I went out and tried to find some new clothes to switch into, and apparently I found a rifle. I'm finding all these weapons now? And apparently this also takes the same ammo my Magnum takes, which is really good. So things are looking up so far. I had to open my mouth, didn't I? So I ran behind a building and to try to spot where the person was at, and I saw some zombies following the sound. Zombies going towards that gunshot. I think the guy shot at me, no? Also, we should reload this BK. Now we have a round. That shot was either at me or something else is happening. It's right there. I got his ass. Oh! I didn't know he already ran past by me. I killed him though. Fucking hey. My heart is pounding right now. Okay, we gotta go. Don't fight the zombies. Run. We don't have time for this. I did not expect that at all. God damn it. Let's just get inside and heal before we lose all this blood. Oh my god. Honestly, it had to be done. I could have befriended the guy, but at this point, it's dog-eat-dog world right now. He had a fucking M4. This guy had so much loot. He had good food. He had water. He had clothes that were going to be able to keep me warm. I just spent 30 minutes just looting the guy and getting everything because all of this was going to be needed to go to the airbase. And I'm so glad he came out of the blue. So after I looted that guy fully, I headed back up to the hill and started heading west to the airbase. Getting a little hungry. That is a castle. That is a castle. 100%. Is that a chicken I see? It is. Let's check out this castle first. Then maybe we can kill that chicken. And see if we can get anything else. And this might be someone's place. Yeah, this is someone who's building here. Either someone has been trying to build or hasn't got the chance to build fully yet. Ooh, buddy. This definitely a view. After a bit, I decided to head back down. I accidentally attracted zombies and I defended myself at that point. And I decided to shoot some of my weapons. I don't know if that was really a good idea or a bad idea, but nothing really happened afterwards. I kept on walking through the forest and there was a town nearby and I decided to make a pit stop there and see if that could benefit me with some more food and water. And all the food I originally had, I started eating throughout while I was walking, and it was a long walk for sure. So I started running out of food there soon, and I'm in the yellow for thirst and hunger. As I continue on my journey, I found a house, and I've noticed that there was an issue with the architecture of the chimney. Why don't we cook up some food? There should be a stove. There's not a stove. Wait, no, there's a chimney right here. There has to be. I was gonna say, there's a chimney in here. There should be a damn stove. Or something to cook with. Wait a second. Why is there a chimney, but there is nothing for this chimney to be used on? I am utterly confused. Aside from that, I found a stove and I cut up the chicken the guy was holding and I started cooking some more chicken. Woo, that chicken was hella thick. After cooking the chicken, I decided it was better not to go into the big city, even though there could have been potentially really great supplies. And it was only because as a solo player, when you go into a big city, a lot of the times there's always groups of people in big cities and decide to build their own bases there. So I wanted to avoid that as much as possible. And besides that, I shined like a beacon with his red, orange, and blue clothing against all the gray that's around the city. As I traveled through the forest a little bit further, I found this little shed, and inside was a tundra, a rifle, a long-range weapon. I decided to keep it because I didn't really have a long-range weapon other than the M16 and the carbine. And besides that, the carbine isn't really that good. It was good because I had good ammo for it, but with the tundra, I'm going to be able to add a hunter scope on the top of it for long-range engagements. And then I went back to traveling more, and with stroke of luck, there was a station nearby. Oh yeah, that's definitely a radio station. The sandbags there. We might find some good stuff in here. And there was a tac vest, a longhorn with a scope. Nice. Some food, and a whole SK58 with a PU scope too. Oh, what the Hold on. Wait a second. And this thing's full of ammo and it has a scope. Hold the hell on. Check this out real quick. We have 7.62. We do. And it has a PU scope. I decided to drop off my tundra for this instead because it was the only weapon I had that had a clean scope and not a broken one. And there was still loot to be found in the towers, so I decided to climb them up, and let's just say I am not climbing those towers again. Don't, hey, don't. I hate how janky this game can be. Really? Dude, I'm stuck. This is so jank, man. They still haven't, like, fixed any of this? I'm not even moving. Oh, I'm so stuck. Okay. I literally cannot move. Okay, you piece of garbage game. Please, let me get up. No fucking way. Oh my god, I got out. Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Duly noted. Should not, go up here again. Or any tower, for that matter. And nearby was another map, and it showed that we were heading the right direction. As I continue on traveling, I found another castle nearby, and it started to rain. I felt like this would have been a good time as any to actually log off for the rest of the night, because I had some other stuff in real life I had to do anyways. As I logged back in, it was getting dark and the sun was setting. This gave me an opportunity to walk through the night without having to worry about being spotted so easily either by zombies or by players. Though I needed to find another town because I ran out of food and now I'm in the red. This also meant that my health was getting reduced over time because I was so hungry. Luckily, a small town was nearby and I darted towards it to find any food that was near the houses. Honestly, I should have saved all that chicken instead of eating it all. The first house I went in, I found a Mosin, but no food. Then a gas station, no food. Another house, no food. Nothing, zero, nada. Then, disaster struck. As I alerted the zombies apparently around me, and there was a good amount of them. Fighting them wasn't really a good option considering I was losing health already from the lack of food, and if I kept on fighting, I would die. I think I'm fucked here. Oh my god, dude, the jankiness! Holy fuck! Like, seriously. Okay, in other news, zombies. You gotta be fucking kidding. Oh my god, I just sounded the fucking horde. Oh, I can eat up a straight up potato. I'll be okay with that. Give me this fucking potato. Let me eat this. Can I not eat a potato? Raw? Oh. Why can't I eat a fucking potato raw? Explain that to me. Why the fuck can I not eat a potato raw? I've eaten potatoes raw before. Finally got some food in our system. Slow down the process of dying, at least. We'll make it through it. We'll make it through it somehow. Gotta take our time. Breathe. Okay. Okay, I blocked that, but okay. Hey, hit registration. I guess thank you for the ammo. Now, luckily, I was able to find some food later on, like canned pork, for example, but it wasn't enough to satiate my hunger or my thirst. The worst thing about all of this is that I was blinking red not only in health, but also in blood. And blinking in blood is bad because you can faint over time when you lose too much blood. So I decided it would be the best option to go inside a different house and sit there for a while until my blood levels and my health levels went up. Now, after waiting a couple hours, the best thing I could do was to leave town and hope I can find another one with more supplies in it. Luckily, as I was about to leave town, there was another building nearby and I actually had beans in it, which helped me fill up my hunger a little bit more. Of course, I wouldn't take this for granted, and I used all the rest of my energy to try to go to the base. And finally, after wandering for so long, I made it. Here it is. The fence line. I thought I saw something pop, but it was just, I think, the scenery loading in. Now, I didn't really know what to expect at the base, but what I did know is that the military bases usually have a lot of weapons, ammo, that could supply a platoon if not more. But before I did any looting, I wanted to scout out the area to see if there's anyone else here at the base because it's usually a hot zone. Really, nothing came about. Then I went back down and decided to try to find some loot. I was able to find a gas mask, but with no filter on it. But having this gas mask in my inventory made me think that maybe I can go into that gas area that was near the town earlier in the session. Then I tried sneaking around, but to no one's surprise, the zombie spotted me. God damn it. And at this point, the zombies were making me so mad that I just said, screw it. Let's go loud. This was a mistake. Let's just go loud, baby. Go big or go home. I'm tired of just sneaking around. Let's go. Okay. Oops. Oh, wrong way. Oh, I made a mistake. Aha! Okay. Open the door. Move. Fuck. Okay. This is probably a really bad idea. Oh, yeah, I'm dead. I'm dead here. It was worth a shot. I made a mistake. Yeah, I'm so fucking dead. Oh! 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 Fuck you, zombie! Oh! Fucking die! Try to heal ourselves real quick. Don't go down too fast now, please. Now, I may not be fighting players, but I'm still having a hell of a good time. This is actually a struggle. It's cool. Yeah, I don't think anyone's here. I think the server might be dead. I can't really tell. What I can tell is that I got a fucking grenade now. Oh, a helmet. A ballistic helmet. An actual one. Do I have glasses I can still wear? No? I'll be damned. Oh, my hunting scope got ruined. No. Oh well. It was a bloodbath, not only for the zombies, but for me, because now I'm in the red again for both blood and health. But as I finished off the zombies, I did wander around and found some good loot in containers and buildings. Ammo, vests, grenades, even helmets. Then the weather started to change into becoming a thunderstorm. So I decided to go into one more building before the rain started pouring out and see if there's anything worthwhile in them. See clothes on the floor. See really anything else. You know, when I look at that zombie, it started to overwhelm me how bad the zombies were in this game, and it made me so angry my intrusive thoughts kicked in. Now, I know it was a bad idea, but I needed to output my anger somehow, and these zombies were the source of it all. If I eradicated all the zombies I found, it'd probably make my life a lot easier to survive.
Oh, gee! What the fuck?
But what came next, I did not expect to happen.
I made a no-no. I did a no-no. Fuck! Open the door! Open the door! Close it! Ah! Fuck! I forgot the other door was open. I'm such an idiot. Whoa! Fuck, dude, what? No way! There was someone actually there that entire time? Oh, I thought I was by myself, dude. No fucking way.
My own intrusive thoughts, my anger and frustration got me killed. One player out of the entire server that was in the airbase, one player killed me with a shotgun blast to the face. I was sad. I was really disappointed because I wanted to get out of the airbase with all this good loot and use it against other players or use it against the zombies. But in the end, it made me learn a lesson. Think first before you shoot.